I really, really relate to what you say about the permission to contract, because that's exactly what has been like, I could be pushing myself a lot more. I could be like driving a massive team right now. I could be probably bringing in massive sales every month, but I'm trying to focus on building the foundations of this business in a way that it's going to grow in an organic way that feels nurturing. Like, I just think there's so much in this, this conscious community coaching world and stuff that we're in. It's becoming more and more popular, and I can see, it's so funny as you go through the ropes and you get your little initiations to, when you finally make your 10K month or your 20K month, or something works, or you're getting conversions, or you're making your high ticket sale, or people are just coming to your online event or your in-person event, and, all these little milestones where you suddenly go, I can do it. I think what you nailed there with just actually not having to constantly, like, I'm never losing my passion, and I think you're the same. Like, it's just impossible for me to stop creating. I'm obsessed. I'm always on the go with the next idea and the next vision, next thing. But my urgency and you know what the key I think is, and in what you just said, actually, now that I'm there, that urgency is gone because my worthiness and my relationship to it in myself has shifted. Before, I felt like this energy of, I'm running out of time, I'm wasting my life, and why did my parents even have me, and I'm just ruined being here. Like, these might be my little shadows underneath, like, when I'm not achieving to the degree that I wanted to be achieving. And all this unworthiness stuff behind, making my success and making my money. And my burnout was the key for me dissolving that, because suddenly when and this was at the end of 2020 into the beginning of 2021 for me, because it was just, I went so hard. I was just like, exactly like you said, like this huge wave of writing, this like, wow, this is working. And I just went really, really on. And I was like releasing an album and running this business, blah, 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 too many things at once. And suddenly it was all whipped out from underneath me. And I wondered if I'd ever be able to, I became boring in my own eyes. I just suddenly, all I did was I went on this big cleanse. I had no stimulants, no cacao, no coffee, nothing. Barely was able to eat fruit. There was all these particular things you could eat. And I felt like I became really beige. That was my words. And I would sit there, and then suddenly this thing happened where I just became super zen. I was eating my little chia seeds and so slowly chewing every seed in my mouth, as if the process of eating this was the most amazing moment of my life. And the way the wind came in and hit my skin, and I went from this falling apart and disintegrating person and feeling like I wasn't worthy because I wasn't being my excitable. So like, you can look at me, look, my energy, my natural energy is I'm giving off, I'm exuberant. And I lost all that. I became beige. And so then I was like, I'm not who am I without that? That's what I thought my worth and value was tied in, being able to give off this energy and this light and to ignite it in others. And when I had nothing left in me to do that, who was I? It was the most confronting thing I've ever been through, because everything about the identity of who I thought I was, of what I was meant to be here in the world to do, and why people loved me, was taken from me. It was the most important thing I could have ever gone through, because in that moment, having my little enlightened chia seed munch, feeling the wind on my skin, being really beige and still and boring, I found this insane peace. I suddenly was just like, it's okay if I never achieved anything else, because this act of being alive, and how much of a miracle it was to be sitting there chewing these chia seeds with little sunlight on my face, and like something about that became so
sorry, Tashka. 1 sec. Keep going. Sorry, darling.
Something
It's okay. He's got it.
It's part of it.
It's part of it. Okay, we're going to weave it in. We're going to make some flowers. Let's go.
That's right. That's it. I mean, this is it. We got to jam with it. And that's what I mean. This is the sacredness of life. That becomes such a sacred moment that you realize that, and this is what shifted for me, and this is a big thing. Before this moment, when I tried to achieve things, I had stress in my body. I had fear in my body. I felt like, what if I don't get enough sales? What if people don't show up? All of that sort of stuff. Oh yeah, that routine inspection thing.
Yeah. My housemate booked in my smoke alarm inspection at a really unfortunate time. All good.
That happened to us 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I feel like this is poetically appropriate for this podcast. I might even leave it in.
Why not?
As part of the...
His sexy needs can be in the picture. What? As long as he's...
You said you have sexy needs. Sorry? Is there one more room? It's a garage. One more. Yeah. Okay. Back.
That's hilarious. And you know what? Anyone watching might find that a highlight.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like, this is the reality of entrepreneurship, and this is the reality of art. Like, it's a comedy of errors. We're constantly making mistakes. If you're not messing things up, then like, you're not taking enough risks.
Yeah, totally. Line of the century there. Yeah. And that's the thing, when we haven't done our personal work, and this ties into just finishing off what I was saying, when we haven't done our personal work, then everything feels like a personal attack. And we can't we can't make mistakes because we feel like it's the worst thing in the world and we're a horrible person. We might as well die or something, wherever the chain goes to when we get to the bottom of that rattle of the underneath layers. Like, if I make a mistake, I'm not worth being here. If I, all of this stuff. So I think the comedy of errors, like you said, and in that moment for me, I went from being that person who was so hungry to achieve and felt like if I didn't hurry up and do it, then I'm not worth being here, to just feeling like, you know what, I'm so grateful to be alive, which I thought I'd already done all that. I was already a spiritual person, but when you get confronted with it all being taken away from you, I tell you what, it's a whole nother level,
Mm-hmm.
And ever since that moment, I have approached my business and my success in a completely different way, where my embodiment and looking after me and my relationship to myself and how I feel about what I'm putting out there, even if whether people dive in or not. And I've actually been more successful more easily since. Like, that was after that moment, that's when I made my 10K and 20K months, that's when and I've done it in a way where I'm not compromising my health and my passion and my beingness. I love sitting there and doing nothing and just connecting with the wind and nature, making weird noises and rolling around.
Yeah.
That's my jam. Like, I'm like,
yeah.
I probably should be really motivated right now and working my business, but I'm just going to lie here for a bit longer and make more moaning sounds, and that's important. Like, if you don't have that involved in it, then what are you doing it for? You're doing it because you're doing it out of fear, out of unworthiness, out of like hustle, out of I have to do that. That energy comes through in your sales. That's the difference.